Welcome to the light, and today I am shedding light on a case coming out of Austin, Texas, where Texas A&M student Brianna Aguilera has had a suspicious unaliving. Now, I am calling it a suspicious unaliving, whereas the police department has ruled it a self-exit pretty quickly, in my opinion, after the incident that occurred. I'm going to get into it and break it down by looking at some of the facts, what the police are saying, what the family is saying, as well as some other comments that are being made online relative to this case and the night in question. Brianna Aguilera was a United High School alum and Texas A&M student, and she passed away early Saturday in Austin after a tailgate party during the Texas versus Texas A&M football weekend. The Austin Police Department responded around 12:47 a.m. on Saturday to 21 Rio apartments near the University of Texas campus, where they found an unresponsive woman. She was pronounced deceased before 1 a.m. Authorities have not released an official cause of death at this time. Brianna was studying at the Bush School of Government and Public Service at Texas A&M and hoped to become a lawyer. Her family said she was 1 year away from receiving her Aggie ring. Now, Brianna's mother, Stephanie Rodriguez, was told by the police that her death may be ruled a self-exit. And please understand that I cannot say the other word on this platform, so we'll be using that term in this case. However, Stephanie emphasized that the family does not believe this is the case. As the family traveled to Austin on Monday morning, Stephanie exclaimed that they are en route to demand answers, that Brianna was not having thoughts of self-exiting or had ever had thoughts of that before. Stephanie evenly publicly wrote on her Facebook, "This was not accidental. Someone KILLED'd my Brie and gave all the group of friends a lot of time to come up with the same story. My daughter would not jump 17 stories from a building, and to be labeling this as a self-exit is insane. My daughter loved life and was excited to graduate and pursue her career in law. Austin PD and Detective Marshall is not doing his job. How is it that certain friends left immediately and the person who was living at the apartment complex vacated her apartment ASAP?" Bree's cousin Belle Fernandez also weighed in on the situation on Facebook, stating, "My cousin would never do this. She was terribly afraid of heights. The details of this case are suspicious. One of the worst investigations I've ever seen. Her phone and keys were released to a non-family member instead of being taken to the station. Her phone was not computer dumped at the station. The apartment was not searched. Nobody who was with her set foot in a station interview room. There are procedures to this, all of which have been absent from Austin PD's investigation. Their lack of professionalism, chain of command, and preservation of a crime scene is reckless. Brianna's closest friends state she would never do this. She was ready to celebrate the holidays, see her mother for Christmas, her two little brothers, was making plans 1 whole year ahead for her graduation and Aggie ring. I urge any of her friends to send in the slightest of details to APD. Whatever the case may be, there is so much more to this unimaginable horror that is my baby cousin's passing." Now, what Belle stated is exactly what I was thinking, because in my opinion, this is not something that you would pretty quickly rule a self-exit. Somebody of this age, about to graduate, had so much going for her. And simply the fact of you have to look into it. You need to investigate, agreed with the chain of command. You need to talk to people. The fact that nobody was taken to the station after this occurred and interviewed is shocking. Shocking. It just seems like investigative 101 of what you would do in a situation like this. Belle Fernandez also spoke to the San Antonio Express News, and there she made comments to them saying, quote, "We just want the Austin Police Department to do their due diligence and treat this as an open investigation before reaching any conclusions about her death, and we feel that they haven't. We want a proper investigation done, and we don't want her to be treated as another statistic rather than as a family member, a daughter, a friend." Now, the San Antonio Express News reached out to the police department, and this is a statement that they gave directly to them. So there's no confusion here, okay? This is the direct quoted statement that they gave to the news. They said, quote, "At this time, the incident is not being investigated as a homicide, and there are no indications of suspicious circumstances." Now, that being said, immediately after that statement, they also said that Aguilera's quote, "cause of death will be determined by the Travis County Medical Examiner's Office and that the investigation remains ongoing." Now, the next part of this is I want to go into some things that I found online while looking at this case. And of course, I went to Reddit because, let's be honest, that's where people talk, especially those of college age. This here in the background is a photo of the 21 Rio, and these are the apartments of which Brianna was found. This post on Reddit states, "There are a lot of inconsistencies with the story," Rodriguez's mother said. "He told me they said she jumped, and then he told me that the friends said they didn't know her whereabouts. Rodriguez believes one of the 15 people inside the apartment at the time of her daughter's death knows something. There was a fight that happened between my daughter and another girl, and they were all staying in the same apartment that I have actual text messages of, and the detective just disregarded them," Rodriguez said. Now, the apartment complex of 21 Rio sent out this message to their residents the next day. It says, "Good evening. It is with great sadness we can confirm that the individual involved in this morning's incident was not a University of Texas student or 21 Rio resident. At this time, no additional details are available. Our thoughts and sincere condolences are with the individual's family and all those affected." Now, this user on Reddit stated, "I actually know quite a bit. I am close friends with a guy who lives and works in the building. I asked him what happened, and he said he was walking home around 1 a.m. Friday night and saw her laying on the ground. He and a lot of residents in the building were questioned by the police about what happened. I asked him what was going on yesterday morning, and he said her death was originally thought to be a homicide because it was pretty graphic on the ground. But he said early Saturday morning, around 6 a.m., the police questioned building members again and were able to find out that she had attended a party within the building and fallen from the 17th, not the 7th, floor. My friend said he checked the camera footage and they didn't see her on the 7th floor amenities or balcony at any point during the night. But they did see her going up the elevator and getting off at the 17th floor and never coming back down. They have now ruled it as a self-exit. The guy I've been talking with won't give me any other information, but I don't think that's the full story. Her name is Brianna Aguilera, and there was a UT&M after party with alcohol going on in the 7th floor amenities all night." Somebody else had shared that this was the street and it had been completely blocked off with police units as people were wondering what was going on as they saw a massive response to the area. Something I saw on Reddit that I had to try to find out what it was everybody was commenting here, and somebody else asked because, like me, they were curious. And it was something actually truly beautiful, and I think it's nice to recognize that in moments like these. And the reason why everybody was commenting here is this is related back to Texas A&M and something that they do in remembrance, which is called muster. And it says muster is Texas A&M's university's revered and solemn tradition that unites Aggies in remembrance of current and former students who have passed away. Hundreds of musters are held at locations around the world each year on April 21st. And what they say is that regardless of formality at each muster, Aggies remember those lost in the local area, support the loved ones left behind, and share memories from their time at Texas A&M. At the beginning of a muster ceremony, a speaker addresses the crowd to reflect on the importance of the Aggie family. Then the, quote, roll call for the absent is read, naming local fallen Aggies. As each name is called, family members or friends present for that Aggie reply, quote, here, and a candle is lit in their memory. And that is why many people who were commenting on this story were commenting here in memory of Brie. I just thought that was such a beautiful thing to see in light of all the tragedy surrounding this case, was the support of the Texas community. That is everything that I have to share on this case at this point in time. I will continue researching and looking into it further and bring forward any new updates that are ongoing. If you or anybody else you know wants to shed light on the situation, please feel free to reach out to me via DM or my email, which is thelightwithmarissa@gmail.com. Prayers and thoughts are absolutely with the family of Brianna at this time. I hope that the pressure is put on the Austin PD to look into this situation further and truly do an investigation. I would also encourage anyone that lives near the 21 Rio or around it to look at their cameras. Look at it from that evening all the way to the next morning to see if you notice anything suspicious going on, and please make sure you send it to the Austin Police Department. Thank you for taking a moment out of your time to shed light on the case of Brianna. Hopefully, justice can be served here because I believe there is so much more than is being told on the surface. In solidarity with the Texas A&M University students that are all affected by this, there's one thing that I have learned from this story that I have left to say, and that is simply here